the bottom 3 team in LCS.
Well,
split,
and I mean,
so
look at the last game that we just watched, right?
Yeah.
EG just got taken down by CLG, who a lot of people had around 7th or 6th or so. You know, a lot of people had EG way up at the top. Raz said it was a 90% chance that EG's going to finish first.
okay, well, Raz says a lot of things.
Raz does say some stuff.
Some of those things have more value than other things.
True.
Raz likes to keep it spicy.
My point is, you know, would you bet on CLG pulling it back in a game like that? Maybe EG adjusts and say, all right, it is scaling meta. We're going to play go late. And then they, you know, aren't able to come back in that kind of game. That's kind of what my take is. But we got the cat.
Oh, no!
We got Yuumi, we got Sivir. It's coming in. It's going to get locked. It's full scaling in the bot lane. Zeri and Lulu on one side, Yuumi, Sivir, I think it's coming in.
I see this 2v2 in nightmares. I wake up in a cold sweat thinking of this exact... Okay, okay, come on.
It's still coming.
Oh, man, come on, okay.
You let yourself get baited.
I know. That's how desperate I am to escape. 6 years, I've taught myself, don't get baited by draft, and it's all unlearned in one moment of primal fear.
Oh, man. They're farming for late.
Yes, they are.
They're farming for late, baby.
Wukong, at least. He's not entirely late game.
Yeah, he's a cool
He's
monkey.
in there. Yeah, I like Wukong.
Cool guy.
Wukong's fun, man.
Yeah.
He can do some really neat stuff on Wukong.
True.
So we got Jarvan, Caitlyn, Elise, Ashe, Ryze, and Lucian all banned out. By the way, didn't cover that at the start, but covering it now. Renekton is going to be the first Phase 2 ban from Cloud9, considering both sides have bottom lane and jungle presumably drafted. It means solo lanes are the name of the game. Kassadin staying banned away. If scaling is king, then Kassadin's just waiting to wear the crown. You gotta keep him off the rift.
Yeah, especially with the new itemization. Roa plus Seraph's really good for Kassadin. You know, that's kind of like the old school build, but it's just kind of better nowadays. So Kassadin really is very strong. Also kind of difficult to punish in lane.
Yep.
But I'm going to be really interested to see how Fudge does here. They ban out the Fiora, they ban out the Renekton. Is he going to do a takeaway here on 4 with that double ban towards top, or is he going to save that 5th pick for him? Because Fudge was the big difference maker, I thought, against 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
He got that solo kill on Tenacity. They put those resources top, got him very far ahead, and it was a Ksante kingdom.
Yeah, Ksante still up, by the way, with Akali and Fiora being those last 2 bans in the second phase. They can pick that here if they want. They can pick it blind. Fudge clearly has good understanding and mastery of the champion. Him and Tenacity were having some interesting interactions on Twitter about their 1v1 yesterday. I can't really repeat any of them live on the show, but you can go look it up if you're curious.
True.
We have the Sylas locked in instead here, 4th pick for C9.
Yep, gonna be grabbing that. So we'll be 5th pick for Fudge, unless they're getting really crazy and flexing things around, but I don't think so. Irelia throwing down here. This could very well be Irelia mid. There is a possibility of it going Irelia top, but I do think it's going to be Irelia mid. Really strong duo with the Sejuani. Could potentially punish that Sylas pretty hard. Of course, there is flexibility, but I do think Jax would make much more sense going up towards top. So we'll see what is Fudge's answer going to be. When Licorice played into the Jax, he actually went for the Olaf early, which was getting him some early advantages. But that game got a little bit wacky. It is looking like the Ksante, though.
I fully expect this to get locked in. He's got 10 more seconds to decide. I think it's just some classic C9 draft banter, flicking around on a couple of different champions here. Ksante, come on. We know what it's going to be. All right, Ksante locked in. So we're going to get to see the Ksante versus Jax matchup once more. Can Licorice manage to out-pilot Fudge in a way that Tenacity could not?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, it was this same matchup. The Fudge did get that solo kill in. Was a very close thing, though, in that 1v1. Came down to literally one auto at the very end that he got ahead on. Then Blaber was able to get Herald, use the prio that he had top to do that. They knocked down the tower. They got him massively ahead. Couple things we're tracking, though, for this one. Fudge only 3 kills away from 500 all-time kills.
Nice.
In the LCS, I believe. Or actually, maybe it's not in the LCS. Maybe it's totally career. It might include O's. We'll have to get that double check. Huhi as well.
All-time. That's all that's important.
So I'm assuming all-time outside of LCS as well. Huhi needs only 6 assists to hit 3,000 all-time. So both these guys hunting
play potential, spammable abilities. Let's get into it. It's Golden Guardians going up against C9. Golden Guardians looking to get their first win on the board. Cloud9 looking to tie CLG at the very tip top of the table and have a flawless record here in week number 1.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Let's go. He's got the Cloud9.
I love it. Spam the Cloud9. Blaber, no response.
No, Blaber's
He's above such shenanigans.
He's stone cold, man.
Unless there's a crab on the field.
Yeah, I was about to make a crab joke too. Great minds, man. Great minds.
Or unhinged minds.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. They
Yeah.
go hand in hand. We do have a ghost on Jax this time around, as opposed to the flash that we usually see. So, I mean, Jax does have a relatively low cooldown gap closer in his leap strike, so as long as you're not just wasting that willy-nilly, Ghost can give you a lot of extra ability to chase down these targets, both in the 1v1 in your long lane in the side or in a team fight.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you do lose that kind of explosive potential of the E-Flash, stun a bunch of people, right? You know, get in there on top of a backliner. But especially for that 1v1, it can be very, very powerful. The ability to actually chase down in this matchup. Nice backstab from Huhi, expecting that. Going to be starting heal first, just looking to go in for these autos. Did dodge out on that initial Q, but the Q comes off cooldown. Zven gets that down, so nice little trades back and forth here. Not expecting this to be too much of anything besides a farm lane, given how much we've seen of these matchups. But sometimes players can surprise us. You know, if you can actually really establish a good trading advantage, maybe you can actually hammer that home and try to turn it into something.
Yeah, and the powerful trading early on of the Yuumi, like what she can do, just forcing you away with the auto attacks. With all the changes that are coming up next week when we go
gone.
to 13.1b, like
She gone.
TY-based freak for explaining that that's what he's targeting, taking away that laning power of Yuumi that makes her capable of doing what she does later on in the game in pro play. But for now, it's just Huhi and Stixxay trade and farm with Venom Berserker. Like you said, Diplex versus Young back here in the mid lane. Let's talk a little bit about Young's debut yesterday, because going up against JoJo, he got whooped in lane.
Yeah.
He was down 40, 50 farm, but he was absolutely tilt-proof. He didn't let it affect him. He scaled into the mid-game and ended up having a much better individual performance than JoJo did by the time the dust settled. Unfortunately, that dust happened to fall on his own Nexus because they weren't able to close out, but I was still impressed with his ability to keep it together after a bad start.
Yeah, absolutely. And JoJo, I think, you know, it's fair to say, is probably the strongest laning mid laner in the league, right? Last year was really known for blowing out a lot of lanes, especially in spring where he was hyper-focused on that. Summer became more about the team play, but he's definitely one of the strongest laners we do have. Of course, not off to the hottest start that he would have wanted. You know, had a bit of a rough game in the first game. Did lose here today earlier. But we'll see how Young can do against Diplex, who's a bit more of an unknown, of course, in the league. You know, new C9 mid here, coming over. You know, it's not one of those huge name imports that is coming into the league, but people really kind of just at this point, at least myself, are kind of like defaulting to trust with the C9 scouting, because they have brought over so many players over the years and brought in so many players up from academy and so on that have then went on to be really successful with the squad. So a lot of faith, I think, has to be given over to Cloud9 and their coaching staff, as we could potentially have a 2v2 here mid, but Young is fully stacked up, and here comes Sejuani.
It's Blaber to show up first. River's ready to counterattack now. They're going to fall back and try to protect Diplex. Blaber gets a bit more damage onto Young as Diplex heals up with the Kingslayer. And looks like both sides are going to disengage it here. It was the flash from River and the flash from Diplex. So mid lane traded for jungle on the flash. That means I expect to see River back here to try to set something up against the flashless Sylas.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to be, I think, a positive for Golden Guardians. It's a much worse base that Diplex has to take. And even though he's going to be able to collect this wave, he based on 18 CS. And you look over at the other side, it's a base on 35 CS. So he's going to be able to grab that full Vamp Scepter. The only buy for Diplex was the Amp Tome, right? So it's about half the combat power there that he did actually purchase up. I mean, Irelia, people meme about it, but like, Irelia on a Vamp Scepter, that's full build, baby. You're ready to go.
You're most of the way there, and Diplex is stuck with a book. I mean, nobody wants to have to go back to base and just buy the book returning to your lane, but that's reality here for the C9 mid laner. Still a little bit behind in farm, but not the end of the world here just yet. Fudge versus Licorice. Licorice is lower on health, lower on mana, doesn't really have a whole lot of ability left to contest this wave, so he's going to fall back to the turret, wait for Fudge to get this shoved up, and then try to pick up as much of that farm as he can. River picking up his own chicken camp here is on top of a ward. Looks like he's going to pass back down into his own red side jump.
And you can see how bad those trades can go if you can actually use that unstoppable on that E, on the Counter-Strike there. Now he's going to try to bait this Counter-Strike out. He does get it out. Notice he doesn't take tower aggro, so now he could actually potentially threaten a dive, because Blaber's coming up here. There's no Counter-Strike on Licorice. How can he handle that?
Counter-Strike early has a long cooldown. Licorice at 350 HP. Fudge takes a lot of damage from the turret. He just wasn't able to get things going the way he wanted to. So C9, they managed to get the ghost out of Licorice, but not a whole lot more.
Well handled, honestly, by Licorice. And now, Diplex, remember, no flash, and Young is coming here. They will have to back it up, but this is a little bit awkward. I want to look at the mid wave and see how that is actually looking. How much is he going to lose here? Oh, it's actually pushing away from him. So this is actually horrible for Diplex. You know, he does make that roam, then he gets zoned away. He lost the enemy cannon. He lost a couple melees. He's actually basing. So Blaber is potentially going to have to soak this, but this is going to be a pretty big experience difference. So we can see Young is already level 6. He's just barely into 6. You know, Diplex not hitting 6 just yet. Plus, he's going to miss more XP here. So he's going to be about, you know, a third of a level, half of a level behind or so off of this roam.
Right.
Which is definitely not the position he wanted to be in. We'll see how much of the farm he can pick up, but it's already a 20 CS deficit.
And remember that just having a level advantage, the stats that you get from that, it varies from champion to champion depending on what your base stats and your scaling stats are, but it's about 300 to 500 gold worth of combat power for every level. So if Young can utilize that EXP lead to get himself a good fight when he wants it on his terms, could be a big difference maker. Zven has rotated up into the mid lane now to try to back up Diplex and allow him to reset this.
I mean, Diplex needs help. Like, his wave was still frozen. Now it will eventually bounce, but, like, he can't walk up, right? He can't actually fight this guy at all. He knows that he can't fight him, so he's having to play it so far back, and he's just bleeding farm. First, Blaber came and tried to help him fix it. Now Zven has to move up and try to help him fix it. Blaber's here again. They are finally going to get this pushed out, but, like, they know that this is such a bad situation for their mid laner that it's calling all of these resources over. And then you have to think about, okay, well, what else is this bleeding into, right? Wukong has had to come. Now Wukong, who's more of an early game jungler, is actually behind on farm to the Sejuani. Berserker and Zven were hard-winning bots, so this hasn't really affected them too much, but it is problematic when one lane starts demanding all these resources, not to get ahead, but just to try to stay relevant.
Well, good stuff for Golden Guardians at least. Young off to a nice start with 76 versus 42 farm.
It's the inverse of yesterday.
That's 6 waves, dude. That's a lot.
That's a paddling.
And it's still not as much as Berserker has in terms of money. This is just it's a nice situation for the mid lane of Golden Guardians, but Cloud9, they're still only about 200 gold behind globally. They do have advantages there in that bottom lane. A little bit of a farm lead in top. Young and Diplex getting into the 1v1 here mid as Diplex fires off that stolen Sejuani ulti. Young still has his own ult. He has River right beside him, has Huhi hanging out here as well as he pushed this up to make sure that he couldn't be caught.
And you can see all the emphasis on vision that they're putting around him. There's a pink ward there, there's a ward here. They had been actually playing, in this area around bot side, so they roamed up and they cleared out the wards there. They're trying to allow Young to play aggressively. That's how you have to play Irelia if you want to push any sort of an advantage.
Right.
But it is Ksante winning on that top side, and Blaber is going to utilize that pressure to take Herald. This is a similar play to what they did yesterday against 100 Thieves. Fudge doesn't have nearly the advantage in that 1v1 that he did prior to them getting the Herald yesterday, though. So we'll see where Blaber actually wants to take this. If it's going to be to try to bail out Diplex, keep him relevant. If it's going to be to try to go bottom, slam home an advantage that Berserker has already created. He definitely does have options.
I always find that an interesting conversation in a game like this is, do you try to plug the holes in the ship that is sinking, or do you just put another cannon on your main battleship and sail that sucker straight into the port, right? Like, I'm curious how they're going to decide to do this as River makes his way into the top side, and they'll look for a 2v1 against Fudge. Oh! And he's all in! He finds the kill, but River's got enough CC to burst him down before he can vamp back up. But that was nicely done by the C9 top laner.
Damn, Fudge just went off there in the 1v2. Just knows his limits so heavily. And Licorice is going aggressive with that leap strike, with that counter strike. As soon as that gets used, he's not playing Flash, he's playing Ghost. Again, there's no way out for him, so Fudge just turns it around. Man, Blaber forced to use the ulti there. You just cannot actually scrap up against the Sejuani, even this early on. Has double buffs, he's just running you down.
Sejuani's pretty strong in some of these early scraps. Like, everybody looks at her and just thinks, oh, scaling tank, she's just going to CC me. But her trading, is, if she hits the second part of W, is very, very strong. Let's take another look at how Fudge found a kill.
So it's just all about the ability cooldowns. And Fudge is traded very heavily. So Licorice is already at a third health. Leap strike gone. Ghost gone. There's the counter strike. Look at the W timing. He used it late enough so that he's going to be able to get that down. Then the all-out comes through, avoiding some of the damage from River. Flashes past and just finishes them off. That was clean from Fudge. Landed both the W's, landed all his Qs, just really well played. And just a great job knowing the limits of the champion, you know? And Licorice just overplaying his hand a little bit, you know, maybe needed to allow River to start that off, but felt that they would have been able to get that kill no problem. This I can't see being a kill unless Fudge goes really crazy here. Licorice is trying to bait it out, but Fudge has no vision, so he's got to know something could be happening, and yeah, he's going to back it up.
Yeah, there's no, not only is there no vision, his ulti is also still about a quarter of the way off of the cooldown, so if an opponent shows up, he does not have that turn and burn kind of power that would enable him to find a victory in that fight. But he does have 1 kill out of the 5 that we mentioned that he needed, so if he can keep the pace, he might just break that 500 mark.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do it this game. Would be a big one for him. Blaber working on another neutral objectives. You know, you have those winning side lanes, means the neutrals are generally going to be yours. Winning top lane, got him Herald. Winning bot lane, gets him Dragon. Diplex dropping some vision around here as well. Diplex is at least like kind of stabilized, you know, in that mid lane. He is still quite a bit down, but
oh boy!
Oh, pulls him over the wall.
He's all out, but Licorice has enough distance to leap strike back to safety underneath the turret. So Fudge is not going to find a kill here, but he maintains total control over the lane. He'll be able to shove the wave up, crash it into the turret, and get his back. He has a teleport ready to go if he needs to use it to return. River's hanging around this bottom side here, but Berserker and Zven, they're going to back up. They know to get away from this, as Blaber might just look for an opportunity on Young here. Yes, he will. Young immediately flashing away. Diplex finds the E2, but with Young already underneath the tier 1 turret, they don't want to risk a die.
But again, just helping him to reset that wave, you know, trying to cover his mid laner, knows that he is in that losing position here. Wants to keep him safe. Zven even moving up. They've got a lot of vision around. They're going aggressive.
Now it's dive time. Diplex gets the kill, and that's going to feel real good after this early lane.
Yeah, that is huge. All of the pressure that is being brought in here from Blaber. You can see Zven even moved up again. C9 just giving so many resources to try to bail out Diplex in what was a very tough laning phase here early on. And Fudge now has TP'd back. So came back with full resources, starts to bully Licorice here. They're going to drop Herald top, and that's going to be a full turret gone. Because Licorice cannot TP back to that tower. There's no shot. It's going to be gone, and this is getting very, very similar to now what happened last game. Gets the kill in the 1v2, gets all of the gold off of that Herald being crashed down here. It wasn't isolated gold like he got yesterday, so it is going to be shared with the Wukong, but still, they're going to be able to walk it into the second turret. And Fudge is going to be quite far ahead here. You know, good 1,300 gold up now.
Okay, 2v2 bottom side. Stixxay is low. He's got to back away from Berserker. The zeri bullets, man, those things can be real threatening real fast. So Licorice manages to not make it back in time to stop the charge onto the turret. I was curious if that was going to succeed or not. Sometimes, if you have a champion with a gap closer like the Leap Strike, you can jump to it and hit the eye mid-charge, but it didn't work out this time.
Yeah, and Licorice held onto his TP. So he decided that since it was going to already come all the way to the tier 2, he was just going to hold on to that. So it does give them prio to play towards bot side, but now...
Nice gank from River. They want to get this money on Young. Oh! Diplex gets away. Diplex, you're kidding me! Young falls 1v2, the C9 mid laner.
Could River have not continued on that play? He tried to finish him off, though. I think the turret was actually on Young. I want to see that one again. It looked like the turret aggro was on Young, and Diplex gets the stolen Sejuani ult, turns it around, kills Young off. But I feel like that probably should have been a 1-for-1. It looked like Sejuani was very healthy. Maybe he was worried that Wukong or someone was about to arrive and that he would have just died for free. So let's watch it one more time. I do think the aggro was on Young. I want to just confirm this before I talk through the entire thing. But they're looking for the setup. In he goes. He lands the stun. Q back to the wave, then the E forward. Really nice bait here, pulls him in. And now, as he steps forward, Young goes forward. So the turret is onto him. Stolen ult, Everfrost as well. Okay, another kill on top side. But it was turret aggro onto Young there. Unfortunately, we don't get to see the very end of it.
Yeah.
But it felt like watching it through live, that River should have been able to actually continue that forward and maybe finish him off, because I wouldn't have thought that the Kingslayer was actually back off cooldown for that heal, and Diplex couldn't have been more than like 100 health or so.
He was very, very low.
Very low.
But Golden Guardians now down 4,000 gold after that botched attempt on a mid lane dive versus Diplex, who, I mean, that gold lead that we were talking about for the mid lane for Young over Diplex with that 36 CS lead back 5 minutes into the game, that's evaporated.
Yep, he's now down 400. And that Everfrost that he got, you know, off of that earlier kill, Diplex did get a lot of help to get back into this matchup, but he completed that Everfrost, and then in the 1v2, paying that off, you know, nailing the Everfrost, getting the stolen Sejuani ult, everything landing onto Young there. You know, Young had him so low, so he thought he could just dive in, finish off that kill immediately, then bounce back out, but wasn't expecting all the CC between the Everfrost, the Sejuani ult, the Kingslayer here, all these things come through. He just gets locked up, first down.
I mean, we talk about how nice it is to play melee champions with Sejuani because of the synergy together, but Everfrost is such an incredibly powerful item to stop melee champions from doing what they want to do, and Diplex ends up getting exactly what he needed there, defending against that dive. C9 is going to find themselves the second Rift Herald of the game. Remember, the first one was used to grab the top lane tier 1 as well as half of the HP of the tier 2 that is also now fallen. That's a huge chunk of this 4.8, nearly 5,000 gold lead that Cloud9 has amassed for themselves. They got the first Drake as well, and the second is about to spawn here in 10 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they already have early Mythic completed on both Berserker and Zven. They were winning on that bottom side. We can see Zven did a really good job with his Frostbang, already collecting 900 gold to just 600 on the other side, but they're going to go for a fight.
Blaber's already in there, Stixxay's already dead, and Huhi's gonna join him. Can they take out Licorice as well?
Yes.
He wants to get Zven, but he can't do it, man. The support king lives to see another day. And the Herald is gonna help C9 clean their third turret of the game. Second charge completes as well. Fudge, he's in no danger. He's just messing with them, padding the damage stats a little bit. And C9 will take 2 kills. They'll take the turret. They'll take 3 kills. Excuse me, I forgot about that last one on the end. And now it's Drake time. Congratulations, Fudge. Hog, hog, hog. 500 kills all time.
Okay, so, well, getting his 500 already. Congratulations. Has been dominant in the LCS. Only has 2 kills, though. I thought he needed more than that to get 500. So something
Wait, it
was
says
funky.
he needs 3. But
He has
yeah,
2.
now he has 2.
So we'll see.
Did I just do the honk honk for nothing?
Well, it went up. You just read the screen. That's not your fault.
Okay.
We'll see what happens here. So one more time, it's just Stixxay moving forward, and Blaber just sees an angle. There's the clone. Flash in. Q ult. The Lulu knock up ult to follow that as well. They burst him down. Huhi left out to dry there on the Yuumi. It's a second easy kill. Very explosive engage there from Cloud9, and then Licorice arrives, but there's nothing doing here. He goes in, but Fudge has the summoner heal. Oh, excuse me, Zven there with the summoner heal, able to stay alive really easily. This is going to be a very, very tough game now. You're already down 7,000 gold with what is 3 melee here, trying to fight through a Ksante with a Frozen Heart onto a Zeri that has a Lulu behind her and 2 completed items already. This is looking really, really tough. And then you add the Wukong in the mix. You add the Everfrost Sylas in the mix. It's like, you are not getting to this Zeri at all.
It's a tough life here for Golden Guardians. And Licorice in particular, I remember a stat, I believe, from last year. I think he's only got like 1, maybe 2 wins against Cloud9 after leaving that team. And it's just been his kryptonite as River getting caught here, having to try to stay alive, but Blaber ends up getting shut down. Nice turnaround coming out from the Golden Guardians. Licorice tries to get out, should be finished off here by Diplex. Berserker's under pressure. They took out the Zeri. Golden Guardians may have just found the fight they need. Fudge, however, ready to turn it right back around. It's Ksante, baby! Triple kill over to Fudge. Make it a quadra. Why not? Now there's your 500 kill.
He's definitely got it now. He scoops the cat out of the air with his Q3 there as Huhi was trying to get back onto Young to try to reattach. Back-to-back games. Fudge slamming teams down on Ksante. This is looking like it's a Mutts man against the Fudge Factor. Let's watch it one more time as C9 trying to go aggressive here. They know they're very far ahead, but it's still a Sejuani. That is the main target. They're committing everything onto the Sejuani. They land the ulti, they throw the stolen Sej ult, but he's really not getting that low that fast. So the stuns land onto this Wukong. They're able to turn around as Licorice is here. They burst him down. Licorice trying to run away. Nice sidestep on the stun here coming through from Diplex, but he forces out the flash. He goes down. That Berserker just gets taken out by Young. Stixxay's getting aggressive, but in comes the all-out, scooping Young back. Everyone kind of stacking up there, though. Q3 comes in. The W stun lands as well. Fudge just lining everyone up for these Qs, hitting Q after Q after Q. And then watch this on Huhi as he goes forward. There is that Q3, knocking the cat out of the air. That's the triple, and we know he grabs the quadra here as well onto Young. Beautiful play there from Fudge. And they're just straight onto the bear. 20 minutes in, Cloud9 says, yep, let's get it.
Just daring Golden Guardians to stop them, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. Baron's at 4K, Young's at 400. Fudge is just running them over, man. He is dominating. You know, Isaac, I think if I take one side of my headset off right here, I can faintly hear the sound of thousands of keyboards complaining about how balanced Ksante is all over the North American region, as Fudge is showing absolute domination of the entire Rift here on this champion. 7-1-2. The man is a powerhouse.
They let him cook up there in that top lane, and he's punishing him now. Fudge, man, is just looking in form already here. Early season, hard carrying 2 games back-to-back. He's going to find another one in his mate. Oh, he is.
He's not done. Licorice, it's...
Get out of there, Licorice!
Man, I don't think there's anywhere for him to go but all the way down, Isaac.
Oh, man, it's just not fair. Fudge is running over him. 8 kills already. He's about to have his 3rd completed item. That's going to be tough to punch through here.
I like how you talk about it as if it's possible. Just putting that extra little bit of hope.
Maybe because AFK, you know?
I mean, honestly, even if you go AFK, your champion stands there and auto-attacks people in range.
You might lose.
Yeah, I actually don't know if the Jax beats him if he's just standing there auto-attacking. He's just so far ahead at this point. He's going to go ahead and push up bottom lane here. He's got Blaber right next to him. Zven's waiting just inside the jungle to provide support in case they get collapsed on. But there's no way Golden Guardians can collapse. They're all stuck in the base. They can't even leave the walls.
Yeah.
And Cloud9, Baron up, are looking to maybe
Blaber's
get
going
right now. Blaber's already found Stixxay. The AD carry gets away, but it costs him his ghost to try to do it. C9 forcing down the tier 3. They've already got it gone, and I don't think anything's going to save that inhibitor.
Cloud9 saw EG's having some trouble closing out games. They're here with a lesson on how to do it. Diving the towers here at the inhibitor. 22 minutes in, taking an instant 20-minute Baron. Already 2 dragons ahead. You know, they can grab the 3rd dragon for free when they want it. Nearly 11,000 gold up. It's a stomp.
Yeah, this is one of those games where if you're Golden Guardians, you need essentially a conga line down mid lane. Just everybody on the enemy team just running it straight down a couple of times. Yeah, back to 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 back.
Yep.
And it's highly unlikely. We'll put it that way. It is highly unlikely.
That's an optimistic way of putting it.
That such a situation would, well, I got to match your positivity talking about how Ksante might still die. We've got to be, we're being cheeky together, buddy. Diplex caught in the middle of multiple Golden Guardians players. They're bringing a whole team.
Fudge!
Fudge is ready to go. You should have brought more men. 1v5 is not a fair fight for the Golden Guardians. Fudge is ready to go. Diplex gets himself away. E2 right back in. Side with the save. You gotta be messing with me, man. No way. Diplex still alive. Finally dropped. That was clutch from Zven, and the Golden Guardians are just decimated.
Fudge didn't want the 1v5. He takes the 1v1 instead. All out, pulls him over the wall, kills someone in the river, then comes back to the team and looked like they're 10 kills now for the Fudge factor. Bot lane in shambles, top lane looking like it's about to join it. They're pushing down top, they're pushing down mid. Nexus towers are already under fire here.
Man. Woo. I think this one's just about all wrapped up, my friends. Cloud9 working on inhib number 2, inhibitor turret number 3. Remember that bottom lane has already been broken. Young tries to stand and fight, but no way, man. I can't even finish the sentence before his body hits the dirt. Diplex grabbing another one here onto River. 5 kills on that Sylas. Second highest on the team, but still only half as much as Fudge's Ksante. Licorice, nope, there's no way you're gonna be able to tank that one up, Counter-Strike or not. First Nexus turret falls. It's Berserker claiming the credit on it. They'll fall right on back to the remaining tier 3. They can finish that off. They know they've got a 5v3 here against Licorice, Stixxay, and Huhi. Jax doesn't have any ability to really enter the fight or do anything. As soon as he tries, he'll be instantly destroyed. As we have the Yuumi ulti looking to slow these guys down. Fudge will lead the charge. Blaber backs it up. Licorice and Huhi run back into the fountain as Stixxay runs out of health. And that's it, man. Cloud9 might pad their stats a little bit more here. Fudge is just working on minions. He's farming while the rest of the team's fighting. Now he jumps in. Young wants it. He's not going to get a whole lot, I don't think. He tries to dash back around and heal up. Berserker gets the kill as Licorice drops the double over to Berserker. C9 clean house on day 2.
That is how you do it. 24 kills in 25 minutes from one Team Flowers. We didn't even need them both. They had to kill a minute here.
Is on one dude. The dude who's normally supposed to be on the island. Whew. What?
Wasn't an island, it was a battleship. He was taking it to him.
Yeah, that was... All right, so for anybody playing against Cloud9 in the future, I think we might need
Ban Ksante.
ban Ksante.
Get it out of there.
It seems that the tall man on the right side of the stage up here might know how to use this champion to destroy a game of League of Legends.
It does appear that way.